Right.
Okay, great. So, what we're going to be doing today, and this is like a mock thing because I'm doing this for my class, as you guys already know. So, this is what we're just going to walk through this. So, this is child-parent relationship therapy.
Okay.
So this session is the very first session. So this is where you're going to learn what it's about, what you're going to be learning, and how is it going to help you as a parent and step parent.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so first order of business. Oh, sorry, I would have some name tags for you all. As you know, it's been a little crazy, so we don't have any name tags. So we're going to start with briefly, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Joanne Davis. I am an LPC, and I am in training to become a registered play therapist. And part of my training is also to become a parent educator and to be able to teach these courses to parents to help them with their children and basically teach them what we do in play therapy so that they can do it with their children at home. So I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself and just say a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Brittany Morgan. I have a 22-month-old daughter, and she's a firecracker, so I'd love to learn how to kind of relate to her
Okay.
on that.
Good.
My name is Nadia Ewan. I don't have any kids of my own, but I have 2 stepchildren. They are 12 and 9.
Okay, great. All right, so what I'm gonna do, so you went ahead and introduce yourself, and you said you're here because you want to be able to relate more to your daughter,
Yes.
and I'm sure this will help you as well when your stepchildren come to visit, and so you can know how to, interact with them and understand them better. Okay, so in your packet, there's you're gonna see this page that talks about, this gives you an overview of child-parent relationship. So what is it? So this is a 10-session parent training, okay? And the purpose of it is really to help strengthen your relationship with your child, your own child, whatever child you have that you're responsible for at any period of time. Play is important to children because that's the way they communicate. Like adults, an adult can come in here and say, hey, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I'm this. But kids, they don't have the language ability to do that. So play is how they express frustration, anger, and that's how they process things. So anything that they're thinking, anything that they're feeling. So the person who created this program is Dr. Lindrith. Is it Gary Lindrith? Actually, it started at UNT.
Oh.
And he always says that, play is children's language and then toys are the words, okay? And so you're going to be having, so therefore we're going to teach you how to have 30-minute playtime with your child using kits that are carefully selected. So with play therapy, you can't just go to the store and say, oh, I'll get this, I'll get that. There are toys that are specifically selected to help the child express certain feelings, certain emotions. Like for example, in the kit you may have like a doctor kit, you'll have like a playhouse, you have like a kitchen to just then with those toys that they're able to express different things. Okay, so for 30 minutes each week, you're gonna have this time with your child. There's no interruption, and you have to give them your undivided attention.
No television?
No television. No,
No.
no television, and you wanna make them feel completely safe. Okay, so no judgment. So even if they play, like, sometimes they play and they're like, be aggressive, and we're like, don't do that. Like, no, you just let them do it, and then we'll teach you how to reflect, how to not necessarily react to what they do, but to reflect and respond to what they do. Okay, so this is how this is going to help you as far as what it is. 10-week session, we're going to teach you how to do a 30-minute play therapy session with your children, and it's going to teach you how to create an environment where they feel safe. They can express fear, dislikes, anger, loneliness, joy, anything that they're feeling. So this is not going to be like your typical playtime where you're just playing and you're doing your thing and then you're doing your thing, but where your focus is completely to the child. So how is this going to help your child? So in this special playtime, you're going to build different kind of relationship with your child. So they're going to discover that they're capable, important, understood, and accepted as she is. So this is a time where you're affirming who they are and that it's okay to be who they are. It's okay that they express fear the way that they express fear.
And anger.
And anger.
Throwing toys.
And that's okay. Okay. So when children experience a play relationship in which they feel accepted, understood, and cared for, they play out many of their problems. In the process, they release tension, feelings, and burdens. So your child will feel better about him or herself and will be able to discover her own strength and assume greater responsibility as she takes charge of play situation. Okay? So how your child feels about, how the child feels about themselves definitely affects their behavior. Okay? So during the playtime, you learn to focus on your child instead of the problem. So it's not like, oh, I have this child who doesn't listen. I have this child who's aggressive. So the focus is not on what's wrong with the child, what problem, what issue, but it's just on the child and just really tuning in to experience what they're feeling and what they're experiencing. Okay. So when the child feels better about themselves, then she will behave in a more self-enhancing way rather than self-defeating way. Okay. So any questions about the objective and what is CPRT, and how it's going to help you and how it's going to help your child? No questions? Okay. All right. So we're going to move on. So if you look in your next page, we have what we call rules of thumb. Okay, so rule of thumbs are things that throughout each session, you're going to have rule of thumb. So they're just things that we want you to remember, just to kind of keep in the back of your mind as you're working with the child. And it's really training yourself to kind of think differently and kind of see them differently. So the first rule of thumb we have is focus on the donut and not the whole. So that's basically, you want to focus on the relationship, not the problem. Okay? So you want to, so again, that's what we talked about, like you're not focusing on misbehaving, they don't listen, they're defiant, but we're focusing on creating a relationship. And when a child experiences a relationship where they feel completely accepted and they feel safe, then they don't feel the need to react or to be defiant. So we want to keep that in the back of our mind. The focus is on the relationship. I'm learning this to build a relationship. I'm spending this 30-minute time with you, not because I'm trying to fix you, but I want to build a stronger relationship.
Be with you.
And be with you. And then the second rule of thumb is be a thermostat and not a thermometer. So if you think of a thermostat, like it changes, right? So if I take your temperature, it's hot, 98, and it's going to be 98. So it's going to change according to your temperature. A thermometer basically, be a thermostat is going to stay the same. So if I set my thermostat for 70 degrees, it's just 7 degrees. But if I take a thermometer to take your temperature, then it's going to change according to your temperature. So this is basically what this is saying, is that we want to respond. We don't want to react to the child. So if the child is acting out, and we don't want to start reacting and giving a negative feedback. So we just want to remain calm. You want to be patient. And another important thing with this rule of thumb is that a lot of time it's hard to be patient and understanding with others, especially with a child, if you're not able to do that for yourself. So part of this 10-week program, there's going to be a lot of reflection, a lot of fixing me before I fix us and what's going on with you. So just a reminder to, you don't want to react, but we want to reflect, we want to respond to the child, okay? And what's most important may not be what you do, but what you do after what you did. So basically saying that we'll make mistakes, but we can recover. So it's how we handle the mistakes that we make, okay? So those are the 2 rules of thumbs that we want to focus on. So when your child's feelings and behavior escalate, so going back to the thermostat, so when the child's feelings or behavior escalate, you can learn to respond in a helpful way rather than simply reacting or allowing the feeling to. I mean, if you think about it, like when you're dealing with a child, if they're acting up and then you get loud, then what happens?
They get louder.
They get louder, and then they're acting bad. Everybody's reacting to like, look what they're doing and this and that, and they still keep doing it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then you want to just kind of keep it, stay calm and kind of be in control, like a thermostat would always be in control at 75, just the way you said it this morning. All right, so you will learn basic play therapist skills that graduate student. That we're going to learn. So basically you're going to learn these different skills that are going to help you to be able to do those things when you're playing with your child. Okay. All right, so reflective responding, a way of following rather than leading. So reflect behaviors, thoughts, needs, wishes, and feelings without asking questions. And it helps parents understand the child and helps the child be understood. So be with attitude, convey, so basically you want to make sure that I'm with you. So it's like the whole attitude is I'm with you, okay? This is your time. So when we come into the play situation with that kind of attitude, it lets the child know I'm here for you, I understand you, okay? And it also say always, you're not going to always agree, right? I must make you don't have to make the child happy. You don't have to solve their problem. Okay. Because we believe that children have the capability to solve and process and conceptualize their own problems. Okay? All right. Okay, so the skills, these skills will help you control. So the skills you're going to learn are going to help you return control to you as a parent as you develop self-control. So there a lot of times parents are like, well, I can't control, this child is out of control. Like I see in the grocery store all the time. Like I have no control. And it's because the child start acting out, then they get frazzled. Mm. They're at 10 and you get right up there with them. So it's just like, it's no good. Somebody's got to be in control. Yeah. Right? And also the skills are going to help with provide a closer, happier time with you and your child. More joy, more laughter, and more memories with the child. Okay, so here's a question for you guys. So what do you want your child to remember about you in your relationship 20 years from now? Like, what would you want your daughter to remember?
Probably that I'm a strong person, I don't want her to think I'm some weak little, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want her to respect me as a strong woman and look up to me that way.
Okay. So it's kind of like be a model.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a model for her.
Uh-huh, right.
Okay. I think I would like for them to have a sense of feeling that I was always there for them, that if they needed help, that they needed to talk, that I was available to them.
Good. So that so that's going to help you do that. And a lot of times we think we're conveying that because we're providing everything that they need.
Or want.
We're doing things to make them happy. Like I'm there for you. Hey, you want to sign up for this dance or this team? Your dad is not really with it. I'll go ahead and advocate for it. You see what I mean? It's like that's the way we know. Like that's how we naturally let me do this for you. Let me make sure you have this thing that you want, this thing that you need, and then you know, in a situation where you're just sitting and the child's like, just want to talk, okay, hold on a second. You know what I mean? And then that's what's most important to them, you know, but we don't think we're doing anything wrong, but we're not doing anything wrong. We just do what we know, you know, which is to make sure they have everything they need and then that they're happy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just learning a different way. And I had this conversation earlier with a student, and then she said, my parents like don't know how to be parents. You know, she said they did a good job with providing everything that we need, everything that we needed and still do, but they didn't know how to provide for our emotional needs. Because she observed parents, other families, and she said, you know, how close they are. And then she said, we're not close, like we are awkward with each other.
Yeah.
You know? So, and sometimes we can get so caught up in this, especially the way things are now, so much demands, and you gotta this or that. Did you sign your child up for this? Are they doing this? Are they, you know, making sure they're developing right? But sometimes we forget about like the simple things that they just need to know that they have our attention. So these are some of the many skills and all the things that you're going to be learning throughout these sessions. Okay, and then we talked about patience is important in learning a new language. So basically you're going to be learning a new language. So you have to be patient, not just with your child, but be patient with yourself, because this is brand new to you. Okay? Okay. So we're moving on. Let's see this. So now we're at number 3. This is group introduction, facilitate and connect between parents. Describe entire family, help pick child of focus if not identify. I think we're gonna go ahead and skip that one right here, because we've kind of already talked about who you are and why you're here and the children in your life. Rule of thumb: what's most important may not be what you do, but what you do after what you did. Okay, so sometimes we are certain, so you know, sometimes we make mistakes. So a lot of some things that I personally practice with my children is like, I could be, you know, with my husband traveling and I get overwhelmed sometimes, and then they could say something and I just snap. I snap.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, what's most important is not what you do. So it's not important that I snap, okay, I made a mistake, but then I recognize that I made the mistake. But what's important is what I do after. So when I recognize that I snapped at them, do I just carry on, or do I go back and apologize?
Do you apologize?
I apologize every time. And because I know what I know. So I go back and I apologize. And that's what's most important, and they appreciate that, you know. And I think sometimes we forget that children are little people, you know. And I think that's probably one of the reasons I went into this field, because when I was a child, I always felt like, respect me, like, why does everybody respect me? And so, you know, we have to think they're little, but they still have the same feelings and the same emotions and things that we experience. So,
absolutely.
Okay. All right, so then we have reflecting and responding, way of following rather than leading. So it's basically instead of saying, and you'll learn those skills later, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time. So instead of feeling that you always have to have an answer to something, so maybe the child say, you know, I was really upset today because so-and-so did such and such. So you, as a parent, we usually feel like, oh, I gotta have a solution,
right.
You know, and you can just reflect what she just said. Oh, so it sounds like you had a really difficult day today. It sounds like you were really sad, like it made you feel sad that this person didn't do this thing that you expected them to do. And then you'll see there's like, yeah, and sometimes they're just not, like, oh, you get it.
So like acknowledging
and just respecting and just, respect is basically acknowledging what they say. So I'm just like, kind of like reflecting what you say, making sure that I understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
So,
okay,
right. Oh, and I'm going to show you guys a little video clip. And this is about life's first feelings. So this is basically talking about how children, even as babies, how they interact with the parent and how they already experience a lot of the feelings and emotions and things that sometimes we think that they don't experience. So I'm going to flip this around. Isn't technology wonderful? Can you guys see?
Mm-hmm. I can.
Yes.
Can you see it now?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna start it over.
All the time, it can't begin to learn about the world. Tronic believes that emotions come first. If the baby fusses all the time, it can't begin to learn about the world. It's the emotional dialogue between parent and child which enables the infant to begin to control its emotions, and at the same time lets the parents know how much stimulation the baby can handle.
What she's doing is she comes in really close, and so there's all this stimulation now coming from the outside. Now, in a way, that gets his attention, but at the same time, again, he has to be able to deal with that. So what he starts to do, he decreases the stimulation, he looks away, helps to get himself back under control, and then he can come back and now re-engage with the mother. She does that hand movement, she smiles, he says, oh, I need a little break again. So he disengages. And then he smiles and she comes back in, so that they're really in sync with one another. But if they do get out of sync, he knows that if he then smiles, that she'll come back. And what you're seeing is almost a perfect dance between them.
After studying hundreds of infants and mothers, Tronic became convinced that this dance between parent and child is characteristic of most normal interactions. He believes this wordless dialogue initiates a bond of mutual expectation and trust. But what happens if that bond of expectations is interrupted?
And the procedure that we thought about was to ask the mothers to not respond to what the infants were doing. He looks at her, he smiles, big, full smile, realizes right there that she's not doing what he expected. So what he does now is something we saw him doing in the normal interaction. He looks away, he disengages, he's saying, something's wrong, I'm getting a little upset, this isn't exactly right. So I'll look over here. Right now he's saying, this doesn't feel real good. And I'm going to try again. And looking at my hand is a way, I'll calm down a little. It's kind of self-comforting. Comes back here, looks at her, but there's no smile. There you see him drool. And this is a baby who wasn't drooling before. Didn't have any of the signs of even losing a little bodily control. He starts tonguing, another sign of being upset, and now he's hiccuping. And his whole body, if you will, is getting, to some extent, unregulated.
If this response occurs in the laboratory, what happens when infants are emotionally deprived over long periods of time? Tronic discovered similar kinds of behavior in the babies of chronically depressed mothers.
The infants of depressed mothers have been experiencing this kind of interaction on a regular basis and develop a pattern of being disengaged from their mothers.
That's sad.
So how did you guys feel about that?
That's sad.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, but it's just sad how quickly it
Mm-hmm.
takes a toll.
It really does. I was so uncomfortable, like whenever she wasn't responding to
Yeah.
him, I'm like, please respond.
So,
like, do
yeah.
something, do something. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna go to the next worksheet here. So this is looking at feelings response. So we're gonna look into the child's face. So that's like the different faces. Look into the child's eyes for a clue to feelings, okay? So after you've decided what the child is feeling, put the feeling word into a short response, generally beginning with you. You seem sad, or you're really mad at me right now. Your facial expression and tone of voice should match your child's. So empathy is conveyed more through non-verbal than verbal, okay? So like this exercise is kind of like showing us, so we have this first child, and so he's happy. So child Adam is telling you all the things he's going to show grandma and grandpa when they get to your house, okay? So child felt excited, happy, and glad. So you're gonna respond. How you're gonna respond as a parent? You're excited that grandma and grandpa are coming. So you're just reflecting what you're getting from their face and their behavior. So look at the sad one. Sally gets in the car after school and tells you that Bert, the class pet hamster, died, and then tells you about how she was in charge of feeding Bert last week, and how he would look at her and then get on his wheel and run. So she looks sad and disappointed. So you're just gonna say, so you're sad and you're sad that Bert died. So we don't have to try to fix it and say, oh no, you don't have to feel sad, don't worry, just acknowledge however they're feeling. Same thing with the mad. So he's mad and angry, so you're really mad at Harry. And then that, by you saying that, that can prompt the child to start to say more, to talk more. And the more they talk about it, then they process it and then they move on. Okay? So, and then your next worksheet is you're gonna take with you. So you get a little homework. so you can use the one that's already there. It's kind of like your guide. So you're gonna do the same thing. So you're gonna be doing that throughout this week. Just, you know, looking at your child and when they express these different emotions, how you would, and maybe you may not experience all four, but whichever you experience, and then you can write about it. So just to help you to practice, okay? So there's a little role play activity here, and I think I kind of talked about that a little bit. So basically reflecting. So like, you know, basically when clients come here and they're saying, you know, this is what's going on, this is how I feel. So what I do is a lot of reflecting. It's like, so it sounds like you feel this, or it sounds like you feel that. You seem sad because of this, that, or the other. It's just kind of to get them to process. And it's like the same thing you're doing with the child, okay? So you have your homework assignment. So that's gonna be for next week, and I want to close with like one of the rules of thumb is that to remember. I think this is one of my favorite, is to focus on the donut and not the whole, because it's just so natural for us to focus on the problem. You know, we need to fix this. And I know I do that all the time as a parent. Like, I have a child who talks so much in class. And I'm always like, how do I get this girl to stop talking in class? You know? But what I try to do is focus. I said, well, Michaela, it sounds like you like to talk. You know, you like to express yourself. You like to talk with friends. You like to, and so it's funny because I went to Bible study one night, and then Jada was saying how she was like that, and she said, well, God used that, and then she's a Bible teacher. I said, Kayla, maybe one day you'll be a Bible teacher like Miss Jada.
So that's just who she is.
Yeah, and that's just who she is. No, and you know, I talked about, you know, I was like that too as a child, and it's so easy for us to say, well, I never did that. I was good.
Right.
So, and then what that does, even though something that, okay, she got a yellow for, but I didn't yell.
Yeah.
So if anything, it created an opportunity for us to bond. Like, that's something we have in common, you know, that we both struggled with. So, all right. So
also you were saying about the donuts, focus on the donut, not the whole. Another way that I kind of interpreted that was, you know, focus on what's there, what's not, instead of what's missing. Like that whole.
Okay.
What's
That's
missing.
good.
That is good. Yeah.
Yeah, what's missing? Like, I want you to behave
This way. Right.
But let's focus on who you are. That's great.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
interesting.
Okay, well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
I appreciate your
You're welcome.
time.
Thank
Learned
you.
some good stuff.
And then, so don't forget your homework. And then let's see, what assignment? So we're gonna do the homework, the worksheet, and then you're gonna practice, trying to practice reflecting throughout the week, okay? And then next time, I want you to bring your favorite picture of your child. Any picture that's your favorite, or any one of your stepchildren pictures. So that I want you to do that next time. And then throughout the week, I want you to practice giving a 30-second burst of attention. So if you're on the phone, and I've tried that, it worked. You're on the phone, and then you know how sometimes whenever you get on the phone, then kids want to your attention.
Yeah.
Just ask the person, can you just give me 30 seconds, and just like focus on them for that 30 seconds, and say, what is it, and just let them know I'm on the phone right now, but I will get to you. You know, so it's kind of like it says, for hold for 30 seconds, I'll be right back. Put the phone aside, bend down, and give your child undivided focus attention for 30 seconds. Then say, I have to finish talking to so-and-so. Stand back up and continue talking.
Interesting. Yeah, she gets really mad when I'm on the phone.
Just ask the person, just give me 30 seconds. And just focus on her, look at her in the eye, and just say, just give me 30, I need to finish this conversation, and I'll be right with you.
Right. Interesting.
Okay. And they'll be fine. My 7-year-old does it to me.
Really?
As soon as I get on the phone. And before I would just be like reacting.
Yeah, like stop, be quiet.
Yeah, and this is good because I'm learning. Like I'm learning this to teach others, but I'm learning for myself because there's a lot of this stuff that I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I do.
Right.
I react.
I do too.
I'm on the phone. She gets loud. I'm like, I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
So so I'm learning.
Okay,
All right.
thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank
And
you.
so I look forward to our next session and learn more.
Okay.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. Is this for me?
welcome.
File?
Yeah, that's for you.